with the success of Elden Ring, in comes an influx of new players, right? From all walks of life, mostly young from what I've seen online. And I have mixed reactions about it. Like first off, I didn't hear I I just found out recently that From Software made Armored Core. They made the Armored Core series, and that's a series that I did enjoy when I was younger. I had no idea there was a relation to From Software and um Armored Core. I do though know that From Software is an older company. It's been around for quite a while, and they've released a couple of games, but I never really heard about them until Dark Souls, which is a game that not, has increased in popularity with the advent of Elden Ring. So like Dark Souls or Souls-like games, like they call them, like typically were, one player games where people enjoyed the quality of it. They highly difficult, relied a lot on environmental storytelling, right? Like it it wasn't common in a Souls game or Dark Souls game to have someone there tell you the story, and the story beats move, quickly and efficiently. It's more like you kind of got to piece everything yourself, and that expresses like a high degree of difficulty, right? Because no one's holding your hand. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think in Dark Souls there wasn't even a map, so you kind of just had to fend for yourself and figure shit out. So with Elden Ring, right, which is a game also of Baldur's Gate 3. That's another game that like I felt like that genre was dying, right? Like the Gothic, the Pillars of Eternity, the Baldur's Gate, the what's the other one? Divinity, uh shit, what's the other one? Well, anyways, they're like these. I believe I don't think they're ARPGs, or are they ARPGs? Like turn-based, party-based uh RPGs that I felt like they were more prevalent back then, but now, with the wild success of Baldur's Gate 3, more and more players are playing it. Like I have two young kids that I work with, right? And both of them are like, I don't know if I'm using the word correctly, but my liaisons to the youth culture, right? Because I'm close to 40, and these kids, they're in their early 20s, right? And it's like the shit that they do when I sit down and I talk to them, especially about video games. Like I get a first person view of what is trendy, because growing up, I'm sure, well, growing up in the 80s like me, I'm sure that there were games that were popular that people played strictly because they were popular. But I feel like there's more of an emphasis now on that today. Like, I know one of the two kids that are, one of my did I'm saying that word right? Liaison, whatever, man, my connect. He's my connect to the youth culture. And one of them is he would not play, or it's very rare for him to play a game that's not popular, that's not being streamed by his favorite streamers. And the other one is half like that. He's a little more reasonable. He'll play games that he likes. So he's a little more open-minded, but one of them is not. One of them is like, if my favorite YouTuber isn't playing this game, I have no business playing it. So, which is not something I like, but he's young, so I cut him some slack. So one of these games that one of the young kids is playing is Elden Ring, and this is it. It Elden Ring or From Software has brought in this new demographic of young people, and a lot of them are toxic. Not all of them, right? But a lot of them are bringing in, you know, their whininess and their bullshit. I'm hearing reports about how Elden Ring is too tough, it's too difficult. They need to dumb down the difficulty, and I'm like, that's literally the whole reason, or one of the main. I'm not going to say the whole reason, but that's one of the main reasons why people play Souls games, because there is no hand holding. There's a level of difficulty that's highly rewarding once you finally get past the boss, right? Or any boss, or any NPC, or you know little minion ad that can be also challenging. It's not a game where you can just rush through and defeat everyone in your path. It's a game that takes deliberate calculations, deliberate movement, deliberate, striking and dodging, and you got to watch your stamina bar. Everything is like you have to be calculated, you have to be smart, you have to be tactful. Is that the word, tactful? I meant to say tactical, not tactful. So in comes in this influx of new people, new young kids, and a lot of them are like, it's kind of cool to see that these games that I've been playing for a while are now being enjoyed by the younger generation. That's dope, you know. Uh, I I got a big feeling that the next game from Software, or the next Elden Ring entry or Dark Souls entry, is going to be multiplayer, like true multiplayer, not this bullshit multiplayer system that they have in Elden Ring, which in one way I can kind of understand because, excuse me, because to my knowledge, well, not to my knowledge, I know for a fact, from Software games typically were one player games, typically. And Dark Souls is no exception. So Elden Ring was supposed to be, I think, in originally it was supposed to be a single player game, but I kind of feel like the multiplayer elements have been tacked on. Um, some of them can be present in Dark Souls, like the summoning and all that. I believe that's what it's called. But for the most part, it's not really designed to be played multiplayer. It's designed to be played one player. And I'm assuming that the bosses, as well as everyone who fights you, basically all of your enemies or opponents or whatever, they're uh they're designed and coded and developed for one player fight. So maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm not a developer. I'm just spitballing here. But I will say that I got mixed feelings about it, right? Like on one end, I'm glad that the younger generation is getting hip to difficult games because if you're coming from imagine coming from like a game like Call of Duty, right? And then playing Elden Ring, or a game like Destiny and then playing Elden Ring. It's like, the first thing you're going to think of is just like, this game is so fucking hard. It's unfair. No one's guiding me. Like games like Destiny and Call of Duty, where it's pretty much you know what to do. It's not big brain games. No offense to Destiny or Call of Duty or whatever. Like they're fun games, but they're not. You don't require a lot of brain power, a lot of skill, sure. Depending if you're playing competitively or not, or casual. But for the most part, you know what I'm saying. You don't need to go to fucking school to play Call of Duty or Destiny. I mean, honestly, you don't need to go to school to play any game. But whatever. Point is, I like the fact that the new generation is getting involved in From Software games, but it's also some of them are bringing their toxicity. One of the points that I mentioned was the difficulty thing. A lot of them are bitching because it's too hard. When that's one of the main reasons, one of the main purposes of the game, to be hard, to be challenging. And also they're bringing their cringy young culture, right? Now I can say that because I'm an old man now, so I don't get a lot of this new age shit, right? Now listen, I'm willing to bend a little bit here. Not literally. That's just suspect. But I meant like I'm willing to be flexible. That did not help. That's not should have probably used another word. I'm willing to meet you halfway here, right? Like I can say, fine, I'm an old man who doesn't understand young culture. All right, you got me. All right, but that's only 50% of the problem. The other problem is some of the culture is whack. Some of the shit y'all got is not, it's not cool, or it's not funny, or it's not entertaining, or it's just dumb. There's a lot of shit that I see that the young kids follow that's stupid. A lot of music, a lot of trends, a lot of styles is dumb. But a lot of it I don't understand, especially music, right? Like I don't understand what the fuck is going on. Like Chief Keef, well, I don't know. I don't even know if he's still relevant. Anybody with a Lil in front, Lil Baby, Lil Uzi Vert, you name it, man. Like I don't know. I don't know. And it's hard to tell whether it's just me or the times, right? Like I'm older. I'm not super old, but I'm in my 40s, and when I was younger, the older folks who, when I was in my 20s, and the guys who were in their 40s, they would probably listen to the music I listened to, or hear me listen to the music and go like, "What the fuck is this? This is terrible." So like, I don't know if this is just a generational thing, or really the quality of music has become ass. I can't tell you, man. Like maybe it's a mixture of both. I'm not sure, but I welcome these new players to games like Elden Ring because of the challenge. I already made videos about how rewarding difficult games can be. As a matter of fact, like I've once again games like DayZ and Arma. I know I speak about them all the time, but these are my first experiences with difficult, unforgiving games. Like, I never played a game before where you can spend hours just grinding material. Well, well, yeah, kind of material and collecting loot and, guns, armor, consumables, and then when someone kills you, that's it, game over. You start all over. And I'm not used to that, right? Or I wasn't used to it. I am now, but I wasn't. That was a new concept to me. I was like, damn, this game really says fuck you, fuck your feelings, fuck your investment, and fuck your time. All right, you want to live, get good. That's I never felt so disrespected but also so excited at the same time. Like, oh, all right. Like, it was like a challenge. Like, all right, fine. I'll get good. I did not. I kept dying. But point is, I rose to the challenge, even though I didn't really complete it well. Now, because of games like Arma and Daisy, I find myself going to high difficulty levels in video games and enjoying the shit out of it. Like I'm playing Wildlands right now with some of my friends, and I got it on extreme difficulty, the highest difficulty you can have, and I turned off most of the HUD. Not all of it, but most of the HUD. I turned off the mini map, and I'm having a blast. We're all three of us. It's me and two girls. And these two girls they don't want to get off. At the end when it's like, 2:30 in the morning, almost 3, sometimes 3 in the morning, one wants to keep going. The other one's like, "Look, I gotta go to work. I got shit to do. I got a life." And I'm sitting there in the middle, going, "Yeah, I could keep playing. It's fun." And I at first I was a little worried because I was like, "Damn, they're probably not gonna enjoy this difficulty." It's on the hardest difficulty, but it turns out it feels so good. I think they nailed it. It's Wildlands, like I said before, I made a whole video about it, but it's that perfect balance of arcadey and realistic at the same time. It's great. I paid like $5 for it, which is even better, right? Because of course, just like everything in PC, I played past its prime. Arma. Yeah, I can go on forever, man. I'm always late to the party, but at least I show up, right? Even though the food is cold and half of everyone left. Let me take a sip, man. In order for me to record, I have to turn off all my fans, and it's like 98 degrees outside. I don't want them to make too much noise when I'm recording. So we got this mixed feelings thing where it's like, congratulations. Well, I don't know if congratulations is the word, but like, okay, congratulations for discovering something from software. And I'm glad that you guys are enjoying the difficulty level because I do feel like it's rewarding. Oh, that was supposed to come back. I did this segue and never came back to the difficulty conversation I was going to say, but I think young people are understanding that it's rewarding to play games that are difficult because, you earned it. You fucking earned it. And like I said, I'm kind of on that boat because I've played most of the most iconic and beautiful games that I've ever played in my life. I've played like on normal difficulty. Like Elder Scrolls Oblivion, Fallout 3, Cyberpunk 20. Well, Cyberpunk 2077 I played on hard years ago. And this is when I started to realize like, oh, it's hard at first, but once you get going, it's great. Right now I usually play two types of games. I play my single player game and then I play a multiplayer game. My multiplayer game is at night when everybody cuz at night like midnight every day. I work late. I work second shift, so I'm not up early or nothing like that. Hold on for 1 second. I don't know if I'm hearing somebody sawing a door or. All right, I'm losing my fucking mind. So I usually rendezvous with my friends around like midnight, and we play till like 3 in the morning or whatever. Sometimes two, and sometimes a little longer than that. Uh, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so my first game would be a multiplayer. It's the multiplayer game, which is Wildlands, and then my single player game right now is The Outer Worlds Spacer's Choice Edition. Now, I finished this game on normal, I believe, the first time I played it in 2019, 2020, 2020, around there. Uh, I'm enjoying the shit out of it. I'm playing on Supernova mode right now, which is the hardest mode around, or you know, it. that the game has, and I'm enjoying the hell out of it. It's fun. The combat is challenging. I gotta eat, sleep, and drink. I like some challenge because you feel good, and I'm doing great, man. I'm like level 14 right now, and you level up pretty slow in this game. And I believe they raised the level cap to 50, but I finished the base game before, the vanilla game before, and I enjoyed it. I remember liking it. And maybe I'll talk about that in the next video. But to give you a preview, oh man, I like call me crazy, and I know some of you would go like fuck off, Dan, fuck all the way off. But I like the Outer Worlds better than I like Fallout 4. I tried to play Fallout 4 in survival mode, and I was having fun, but there's just something about it that just I don't know, just maybe it's the protagonist talking. That shit just turns me off, man. It's like I hate the snarky Marvel superheroes like talk, you know. The harder they are, I mean, the bigger they are, the harder they fall, you know, shit like that. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like, just shut up. I like the old text box. As a matter of fact, I thought I was the only one that liked that until I realized there was like an uproar of some sort online, and people were like, nah, man, like, we want the protagonist who doesn't talk. And that's why I believe in Fallout 76 they ended up doing the chat boxes. Maybe I'm wrong, but I swear I heard that one time that it was almost unanimous when people said we don't want the next protagonist to talk, to have a voice, an actual audible voice in the next Fallout. And I remember reading that and I was like, good. I may be in a minority there, I don't know, but I like the reading. I like the mysteriousness. There's a mystique to your protagonist, to your character, your courier, your vault dweller, whoever you may be. So it's like this mystique about him when he doesn't speak or she doesn't speak. So I'm glad because I've made videos before about the difficulty in video games and how rewarding they can be. And I do feel like, without getting philosophical or anything like that, I do genuinely feel like the young kids, the young generation is starting to figure that out firsthand. They're starting to see, oh shit, this game is hard, but it's so fucking rewarding. I've seen videos of like really the trendy influencer, god damn, I hate that word influencer, but the trendy influencer dudes on YouTube, like I seen videos of them breaking down in tears, crying, and it looked pretty genuine too. And I was like, I don't think I've ever gone that far into crying, but like, you know, this was probably that guy's first real difficult game, and for him to like finally beat the game and just break down like that, that shows me that he's a bitch. No, I'm joking. I'm playing around. I'm joking. That that shows me that he was that invested. He was so invested into the game that like he couldn't, like it was like a fucking floodgate after he finished. He's like, I finally did it. It was a hell of an accomplishment, and I bet it was super rewarding for him, man. Like that night, he probably was like, damn, you know, probably with a smile on his face, like I beat, you know, the hardest. I'm sure that had to be the hardest game he's ever played. So like, I've never been that, you know, I've been invested in games. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think I've ever cried because the game was difficult. I cried because of the storyline. Red Dead Redemption 1, when they killed John Marston. Oh my god, dude, I was tearing like a fucking baby. But that was story mode wise. I never cried because of the difficulty. Maybe out of frustration, like I punched walls playing Neo, which brings me to my next point, right? Like, full disclosure is just something I probably should have fucking told you about in the first 5 minutes of the video, but oh, I actually kind of did. I didn't really play From Software games aside from Armor Core, and I just found out Armor Core was made from Software. But Dark Souls, the first time I played Dark Souls was Dark Souls Remastered. So you do the math, right? Then this was what, 2016? This is the first time I've ever played a Dark Souls games. I ended up buying Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3, but I never even played those. But even though I didn't play the actual Dark Souls, I have played a lot of Souls-like games, right? That's a new category, or newish category with the advent of Dark Souls. Souls-like. That's how influential Dark Souls has been for quite a while now. It started an entire new video game genre, and a lot of good games too, man. A lot of imitators, right? Or influencers, or inspiration. That's not a word. Or people who have been inspired by Dark Souls. You pick your word. Copycats, frauds. You fucking pick your whatever. Point is, you can't deny quality, even if it's been imitated, right? I mean, some would even go as far as to say imitation is the highest form of flattery. That's like one of the most oldest cliches you can hear, right, nowadays. But there's some truth to that, right? There's always some truth to cliches. That's why they withstood the test of time. So what was I going here? Totally lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, so I played a lot of games that have the Dark Souls formula. Games like Neo, games like Blasphemy, which I enjoyed. Um, games like Bloodborne, Sekiro. Um, jeez, what are the more? I know there's more. Salt and Sanctuary. A lot of them are indie games. A lot of them are AAA games. But did I say Sekiro? I think I did. And they're hard as fuck. And same formula. Um, good stuff, man. It's really rewarding. But like me personally, the main reason I haven't played Elden Ring yet is um because I'm just not ready for that type of commitment, man. I put so much of my time and energy in games like Neo and games like Sekiro. And as a matter of fact, with Sekiro, I got all the way to the final boss. And I got to like I think he has either two or three forms. I can't remember. And I think I got to his second or third form, and then he killed me. And I was like, first of all, it took me hours just to get to that second or third form. And I remember I was like, fuck this. I'm not doing this. Like, like I had my fill. So I shut the game off. I uninstalled and I just watched the ending on YouTube, which is like, dude, I've done that maybe twice in my entire life. It feels so cheap, and I'm almost disgusted at myself because I have this ridiculous strict code of honor. I'm mocking myself because I don't like cheating. I don't like strategy guides. I don't like hints. I like going into a game blind and figuring my way. I feel like that is the most rewarding way you can play a game. And back then we didn't have a choice, right? Because I was born before the internet and I was gaming before the internet, right? You either could get a magazine and like a Nintendo Power or some other off-brand magazine, and you can find out cheats and strategy guides that way, the old school way, you know, moving your finger, wagging your finger in front of a paper page, looking for cheats and codes to your favorite video games. But maybe because I grew up in that type of environment where it was just like you had to figure it out yourself, that I find it just way more rewarding to just go in blind. Like my curiosity, it gets to me sometimes. I'll look up stuff, but I'll try to look up stuff that has no spoilers, right? So, but for the most part, I go in blind. And even though I haven't played a lot of From Software games, wait, there's no two Froms. Even though I haven't played a lot of From Software games, I have played games that are a lot similar, and it's same formula. Of course, different flavors, but same formula. And I don't know, man. Overall, even though I have mixed feelings of these new demographic of people liking Dark Souls games. All in all, I'm glad that they are, and I'm also glad that the single player game is still alive and well, right? Like just like I was happy that Helldivers, a strictly PvE game, was, top 10 for quite a while. Not so much anymore. Now it's like in the top 50, which is still a hell of an achievement, right? Even if you were number 100 in the 100 most played games on Steam, I've said this before, that's a fucking major achievement considering you beat out 39,900 other games, right? Like, I think I did the math right on that. There's 40,000 games on Steam. I may have fucked that up. But point is, that's a hell of an achievement, right? So I welcome them, man. But I ain't gonna lie, there's been a lot of shit that I've been seeing online recently that I'm just like, ugh. A lot of influencers, uh, just just over the top, just exaggerated cursing, n word this, n word that. Saying the word n word to me is kind of weird because if you knew how I grew up, you would go, "Why are you saying n word?" Like, even though I'm Puerto Rican, I don't feel like there's anybody in my friend group that's more qualified to say that word. I'm not gonna say it, obviously. I'm choosing to say the n word, but I literally grew up in the streets. I'm not joking. Like I slept over friends' houses. I came from a broken home. I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm just saying that I hung out on the streets with a lot of unsavory types. I didn't do anything crazy. I was mostly a good kid. And I definitely was no thug or drug dealer or nothing like that. But, I hung out with people who were. I definitely hung out with people who had guns, people who definitely sold drugs, definitely people who have killed other people. Not while I was around, but at least they told me they did, you know. And if you take one look at these kids, you would be like, oh, I think he did. You know what I mean? Like, you're like I think he did. But anyways, it's weird for me to say the N word now, but I also think it's just a thing of respect now, right? It's like, you know, even though I grew up like deep in North Philadelphia, right? Like slums of North Philadelphia, like I still don't feel comfortable saying it. You know, it's just there's too much heat behind that word, and I just don't like it, man. Like I don't. It's just I feel like it's derogatory, and well, it is derogatory. It ain't. It's not. I feel it's 100% derogatory, but I really hate how people had tried to. They say it so much, and they try to make it seem cool, and it's like there's nothing cool about that word, man. I know I sound like an old man, right? Like it's not hip to say the N word. You know what I mean? Like rappers think otherwise, right? They're like, I think it's very hip to use the N word, and then they'll call you the N word right after saying that. So I don't know. I don't know. I guess repeating it over and over somehow has made the word positive and not negative. Dude, I don't know, but whatever. What the hell was I talking about? So a lot of influencers. This is one. I don't know his name, but he's super popular. Black dude with dreads. He's cursing up a storm. N word this, N word that, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, I can't get into this guy, man. He's exaggerated. Like he's first of all, he's using that word way too much. Like way too much to the point where it's like uncomfortable. And this is coming from someone who's heard it his entire life, right? Like he's making me cringe because I'm like, okay, bro, like, and he just comes off try hardy. I'm not gonna say his name because A, I don't remember, and B, even if I did, I wouldn't say it. But I think you know who I'm talking about, right? No hate. It's just I think he's a little too much, man. A little too much for my taste. But one of the young kids that I work with loves this guy. He's always watching videos of him. He's looking at his other shit and probably giving him money too, which is a dumb thing to do. Not hating. Hey man, if you're supporting this guy, rock on, man. Rock on. But I'm just saying, like, that money could be used for better things, especially him. If you know him personally, be like, motherfucker, you're terrible with money already, and now you're giving them to influencers. You're giving your money to influencers. You should be fucking saving that shit. I was gonna say young Skipper, but that would have made me sound super old. But yeah, like it's that type of culture is what I'm talking about. That gives me mixed feelings when I hear influencers like that, and I'm just like, ugh, like you know, like just I hope that like there's not because he's so popular, right? He's super popular. Like you know, there's gonna be someone to imitate him. There's gonna be somebody who's gonna drop the N word even more, and just not that, just not the fact that he says that. It's just his attitude. Like he just comes off like you know when you watch those YouTube videos and like the especially the more popular ones, or at least the ones that are trying to be popular. It's like they have this voice where they try to sound like announcers almost, and it's like I don't know, like, and they're very rapid and really quick and really fast edits and words all over the screen. Like it makes me want to throw up. It's like going really fast in an amusement park or an amusement ride of some sort. It's like just it's too fast. These videos are cut way too quick, and you guys are way too. You're trying too hard to be funny. You're too loud. You're too fast. Shit. So yeah, like that unfortunately is coming with the influx of new people, that type of culture, and I hope I see less of that. But you know, whatever, man. Like if these guys are famous, they're doing something right. That means that they're having a lot of people view their shit, unlike me. So you know, they're doing something right. It's not something I like, but I don't fucking have to like it, and I sure as hell ain't gonna hate on anyone else who does. You know, you ain't gonna make me watch that shit, but you know, I'm also not gonna make you stop watching that shit. And I ain't gonna ridicule you for watching that shit neither, man. Live and let live, right? So they say. Uh, I don't know, man. Like, it would be nice. I'm not gonna lie to see. As far as I know, it's been on record that From Software's next game, whether that is the next entry to the Elden Ring series or the next entry to the Dark Souls series, it is interesting to know that they did say that it is going to be a multiplayer game, or they're like heavily considering it, something along those lines. And I think that's a great fucking idea, right? Start making boss battles. Now you can design them with two people in mind, right? Uh, I feel like Remnant. Remnant is another game that's Dark Souls like, and Remnant from the Ashes one, and then Remnant two. Fun games, mind you. And they're also multiplayer. I think up to 3 people. Them games are fun, dude. You get them on sale, get those. Especially if you're playing with someone. I had a lot of fun with those. Um, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, if they can make something like Remnant, right? Like where it's like multiple people, 3 or 4 people can join in on a party, and you guys can take out. It's kind of like a really dark and harder Helldivers, right? Of course, without all the gunplay, because if it's a Dark Souls or Elden Ring game, it's going to require a lot of fucking swords, a lot of melee combat, and all that. Although I did hear but there's always spells. You can count that as projectiles, right? And I think there's bows, right? Like actual crossbows or you know hunting bows or whatever. I'm not sure, but it's interesting. Like the Elden Ring 2 multiplayer, full multiplayer. Oh yeah, count me in, bro. I may get that shit, day one. Like, as far as Elden Ring, I've seen so much of it now. I'm a little sick of it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little jaded, I guess. But maybe if it goes on sale, which is like fucking once or twice a year, that game is so immensely popular. Uh, or I go about illegal ways of doing things, which I'm not a fan of neither. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm glad that more people are enjoying harder games. I'm a big proponent of that. Even games that you've played before, it feels like an entirely new thing when you just bump the difficulty up. Like after I finish the Outer Worlds, which ain't gonna be for a while because I'm still gonna beat the vanilla game again, and I'm also gonna beat the 2 DLCs, which I've never played. I'm eager to play that, but you have to be level 30, and I think I'm like level 14, so it's gonna be quite a while. I got a trip coming up. I'm actually even taking uh my girl's gaming laptop, and I'm gonna play in the plane, or at least that's the plan. I fuck around and forget, knowing my ass. But good stuff, man. If you're new to like the From Software catalog, I hope that this isn't just a trend, and I hope that you do uh, uh, give other games a shot from Software, or games that are Souls like. I told one of the young kids, the one who's really into Elden Ring right now, I told him like, dude, you've got so many games. I'm like, if you love this genre, because this is the first type of Souls like game he's played. I was like, dude, if you like this genre, you are spoiled for choice, man. There are so many good games out there. I pointed him to Sekiro. I was like, I think you'll like Sekiro. I really do. But good stuff, man. And I hope that this isn't just a thing, like I hope that as time goes on, or the next Dark Souls game or a Souls like game, the next one that comes out, people just don't, hop on the bandwagon. And basically what I'm saying is I hope this isn't a fad, you know. Something tells me it ain't, because From Software shit, it's just so high quality and it's so fun and good that I don't think it's just a fad. I think it's there. I think more and more young people are seeing the value of hard work, of difficulty. So let me log off before I start sounding like some hardened farmer or some shit. So I'm out of here. I'm burning up. It's fucking 98 degrees in here. I'm gonna turn on this fan, and I'll see you guys some other time.